The Daily Flashback. It was on this day in 1971 that the New York Times published what would become known as the Pentagon Papers. The top-secret documents leaked by Daniel Ellsberg showed that the government had lied about the progress of the Vietnam War. The government attempted to stop the papers from being published, triggering a landmark Supreme Court ruling in favor of freedom of the press. 40 years later, the National Archives is releasing the entire 7,000-page study to the public for the first time. WikiLeaks before there was one. Well, let's bring back our panel. Charlie Cook, Stuart Rothenberg, and Liz Sidoti. All right, Stu, we want to talk about a little bit about the president here. I love this Economist cover. I don't know if you caught it this week. It shows this enlarged version of Obama and all of these little guys prancing around below, and it says, and yet I could still lose, and that is he's running against the economy. Now, we know that they're serious and they're nervous about re-election because, hello, America's still a 50-50 nation. They're sending Robert Gibbs to New Hampshire tonight. What is the best way, what do they want to see out of this debate tonight?
Well, I think they want to see a divided Republican Party without anybody emerging, and probably the best reviews for Michelle Bachmann and Herman Cain and Ron Paul for the third-tier candidates. Look, there's no question in my mind that we are headed for a very competitive presidential election. The Republican nominee matters. The economy matters. Those are the two key things, I think, in this contest. I think you can bet that the president's going to run a good campaign.
You know, Charlie Cook, if the president wins re-election, it's likely to make history because it would be it's hard to imagine that he's going to get more than 53% of the vote. And so that would mean if he won re-election, he's going to do so by getting less than he did the first time, which actually would be a historical precedent.
It would, although the circumstances, I think, were so skewed that by the time we got to Election Day in 2008, Ronald Reagan couldn't have won. I mean, after the financial collapse and all of that. So, yeah, I mean, it's true, yeah. But it's, to me, it's less remarkable, but because I think the fix was sort of in at that point. But I think Stu's absolutely right. I mean, what they're rooting for is people who can't beat, who we could beat easily, doing well in this debate and sucking all the oxygen out of the room. That's what this White House wants.
Liz, let's talk about where the president's traveling today. He's headed to North Carolina. Then he's going to go to Miami for some fundraisers. And then he's going to San Juan, Puerto Rico, which is also a political stop because there are a lot of neighborhoods in the state of Florida, both in Miami and Orlando, and Tampa, and all these places that have a lot of Puerto Ricans in it. I mean, this is not, it's an official trip, but I call Florida and North Carolina the sort of the Ohio insurance policy because they're very nervous about Ohio. In fact, a lot of them are more pessimistic about carrying it than they've ever been.
Right. Well, but this goes back. I'm from Ohio, so I understand what's going on the ground there much more intimately, I think, than most other places. And Ohio, look, it's a perception-reality problem here for him. Is even though there are signs that the economy is growing, it's not growing fast enough, and people on the ground in Ohio really feel that. You know, he's got similar problems in North Carolina and Florida, but there are more positive signs of hope, I think, down there than there are in Ohio.
Stu, Mike Murphy on a tweet, I thought, put it really well last week when he said this election could be the economy versus demographics. And when you look at Florida and North Carolina versus Ohio, that's a classic case. Like, why emphasize Florida and North Carolina? Because the Obama campaign thinks demographics are going their way and that they can find a way to get to 50% in a way that in Ohio, which is older and getting less and getting more white, is hard for them.
Yeah, certainly we've been talking about North Carolina for many years in terms of the New South and different kinds of population, African Americans, even white liberals, and Florida, of course, and Hispanics.
Even
in Florida, right, Hispanics in both North Carolina and Florida. I would add, though, I think that the Medicare issue also has a particular impact in a state like Florida, obviously with seniors, and I think Democrats are hopeful they can use that as a wedge against the Republicans.
Charlie, I thought about not even bringing up the member of Congress's name.
The name shall not be mentioned.
We won't mention his name. But last week, the two of you sat there and said, where are the Democratic leaders? He needs to go. I have to say, I'm surprised that Debbie Wasserman Schultz and Nancy Pelosi did what they did over the weekend. Are you?
Well, I think it was later than it needed to be. But although I think the phrase attributed to the speaker, lying weasel, I think those, I like that. I like that. And maybe it was a day or two late, but I like that.
They got it done. All right. Shameless plug time. Liz, I'll start with you.
Team in Training is recruiting for the fall season.
Team in Training, what is that?
Team in Training, Leukemia Lymphoma Society's fundraising arm, and also a shout out to my friend Kate, who just found out she's 4 years cancer-free today.
Very nice. Stu?
Well, I'll go much more lowbrow than that. That's just a hard one to follow. Tomorrow, my comment on roll call is a state-by-state bottom line. What's happening on redistricting, reapportionment. Not up to date, but at the end of the process, who's going to win, who's going to lose, how many.
Democrats in better shape than people think.
Well, that is
we'll find out. We're going to find out tomorrow. All right, here we go.
After everyone's read Stu's piece tomorrow, go on and follow David Wasserman, our House guy.
He's done a good job.
Twitter,
I love his book.
Redistricting, and we've got, yes, he's doing a great job. But read both of them.
You know what? Follow both of these guys and everybody that works for them. Nathan, David, Jennifer, they're all fabulous. Liz, Charlie, Stu, thank you all. That's it for this edition of the Daily Rundown. See you right back here tomorrow with a big post game on that debate.